connected to everything, and that's why I'm in everything. All eyes on me, all eyes on everything. That means everything. Eyes connected to everything.
I was backstage pulling my hair. Still pulling my hair. I'm waiting on that background music before I get started. Oh yeah. That is like such I like it. I like it. I really do. It
It gives
adds
you a little
up.
bit of flow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to tease this a little bit more because this is I'm looking like a poodle over here.
I can't with her, y'all. I can't.
I'm just waiting. All right. This is Things That People Don't Want to Talk About, brought to you by me, God Level. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, the home of the original St. Paul. You can only get it right here in the Midwest. 314, I am a mother. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a nurse. I'm a mother. I'm a friend. I'm an aunt. I'm a Gigi.
Yes, you are.
I'm a
Yep.
Gigi. Don't you ever call me grandmother. I'm a Gigi. I am everything good. John, you want to go ahead and represent yourself?
John Skywalker, the Sly Talker here, lyricist, spoken word artist, martial artist, personal trainer, lover of life, student of psychology, and I'm a father. This right behind me, this is my album cover for my latest hip-hop album, Final Dimension. It's part of a
Yay.
3-part series, Dimensions, Higher Dimensions, and this is Final Dimension. If y'all are trying to listen to something other than what's on the radio, you should go ahead and look up John Skywalker on your music streaming device. John Skywalker. If you're tired of hearing that radio, go ahead and listen to me. Salute.
Salute. I don't even listen to the radio. I can't. I have to have my music plugged in and ready to go. I just can't. They play the same song every hour on the hour.
Over and over.
Over and over again. And then the commercials is like 15 minutes long. Am I lying though? Am I lying? All right then. Let me see. King Newborn, you want to go ahead and represent yourself?
Peace, peace, peace. This is King Newborn. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Newborn Everything. And welcome. It's good to be back. Been a little busy. But as always, I am of service.
That's what's up. Ivy, you want to go ahead and represent yourself?
What's going on, y'all? It's your girl Ivy here, former Army broadcast journalist, inattentive Ivy on TikTok. Me and my hamsters, we be rocking. Hey, I wasn't here last week, but thank you very much. I appreciated you guys for checking in on me this week and just being like, hey, old woman, because, you know, I'll be falling down, and when I get in these streets, I'll be hurting myself. So I'm back this week. Yay. And I'm so glad to be here. Future art therapist. Speak about mental health. Thank you very much. I speak a lot about ADHD and other things that are happening in our community with mental health. So I don't want to steal King Newborn's line, but yeah, I'm here for y'all. I'm here to give whatever knowledge I got.
Hey, ain't we all? Aaron, you want to go ahead and represent yourself?
Yes, I'm the new kid on the block just coming in. My name is Erin. I'm a mother, business owner, pharmacy technician. I own AP Mobile Assist. So with your credit, if you got bad credit, come see me and I'm going to help you work that out. Notary assistance, I can do that in Missouri. So I'm plugging myself. Come on and get this good credit so we can buy these houses and these cars and things like that. So yes.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That change. How y'all doing this week? I ain't seen you, brother. You said you was busy before we get started. How y'all been?
Good.
Good.
Everybody.
Peace.
All right. Tonight we are doing and I see you switched up that music in the background. What is that?
That's from the second Higher Dimensions, Relaxed.
I like it. I have all of them.
Relax, I am cool. Yeah.
Okay. We are doing human trafficking part 2 this week. Last week we just kind of went down the meaning of human trafficking and how it was broken down into 3 different types. Um, went into that a little bit more detail. Now I'm trying to go right off I still got my notes. Oh my God, I don't have my notes. Um, Shook it. It was
Yeah. So we talked about certain elements. We talked about the act. We talked about the means. So when we were talking about the act, we were talking about the recruitment aspect, transportation, transferring, harboring, the receipt of trafficked persons. We talked about the means of it. How do you do it? Threatening, coercion, abduction, fraud, deception, abuse of power, all that. And then the purpose, exploitation. We talked about the prostitution, the sexual exploitation, the forced labor, and briefly talked on the removal of the organs. So we talked about those elements. We talked about why it endured for so long. It's we referenced a documentary where it says like the oldest profession out there, prostitution and human trafficking. Maybe not in the professional sense, but yeah, it's been around for a long time. And we discussed why it was an industry. We talked about factors that contributed to the vulnerability of trafficked persons. The social economic factors, the family instability, the runaways and the homelessness, the grooming and the manipulation upon contact. We talked about the online exploitations as well. We talked about the lack of awareness. What else?
The recruiting. Yeah, it was several different places on there.
Shopping. You guys covered a lot.
Yeah, we did. Shopping, junior high, high school, foster home, group homes, courthouses, restaurant, bars, bus stations, concerts, parks, libraries, and of course, social media. And they put Facebook the biggest day next to that statement. Yeah. So, oh yeah, we went down the line with a lot of stuff. A lot of times when these people are taken, they either stay in that area of where they've been taken or they move them somewhere else. So yeah, tonight we want to focus on one of, I guess you would say that he's an elite.
A high profile case.
A high profile case. We'll put it like that. His name is Peter Nygaard. I got him. Yeah, mind blown. I don't know if y'all got a chance to watch the documentary on Prime, but it's definitely on there. He had humble beginnings. I will say that he grew up very, 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 very poor. Him and his mother and father didn't have much, so I understand his ambition as far as business, but there was another side of him that you could tell he needed. I don't know if someone like that can be helped, and I'm just going to say that because he had been
deep.
Yeah, he had been doing it for so long. It was just second nature to him to just take what he wanted from a woman. Now, and he also used his money, and that's what a lot of people do. That's the high profile. That money, they equate that money with power.
Power.
Power, being able to control. And this man, and he said it out of his own mouth, he would rather live like a king in the Bahamas than fight to get the attention of the A-listers in Hollywood. He was a fashion designer. However, he catered toward the working women 35 and up, 40. That's who he catered to. And all of his stuff was in every freaking department store. When I checked his net worth last night, he was $900 million. He's currently behind bars right now. Hey, Creation Divine, I sent you a link if you want to hop on.
Let's put that out there.
Put that out there. But he started his, I don't even know what's a good word to call it. Um, his fetish is that a fetish?
He
Yeah,
John?
I
started
think
his
so.
his predation. I
Yeah,
mean, he started being a yeah, he started being a
he started
predator
being
early.
a predator early on.
Yeah.
Um, Going out to different clubs. He wanted to be seen. He wanted to always be seen as a big man, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm somebody special.
Hmm.
He started off in
Yeah.
Canada. Um, don't get me wrong, the business ideal he had was amazing. Since everybody was focusing on the 25-year-olds, keeping them dressed, he focused on the average woman and what they needed. But the other side of him was he was a monster.
Hmm.
He was an absolute monster, and everything he did, he just seemed to upgrade in everything that he was doing. As far as with these young girls, once he got his place down in the Bahamas, he was able to fly women in at will anytime he wanted them. Um, and when they would get there, he would take away their passport. He would lock. They were basically locked up on his whatever
Compound.
you want to call that
On his island.
compound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
his
on his
compound.
little
Hmm.
island, on his little man-made island. But
Allegedly.
his, huh?
No, go ahead.
Okay. But he started early on in Canada, and a lot of women did not come forth till years on top of years later. It was one lady in particular, she just wanted a ride home, and he stopped by his office. Most of all
Yeah.
of his offices was equipped with a bedroom.
Crazy.
Every place he worked, he had in an office, he had a bedroom, and he had a lock to where you had to lock it from the inside. So once he closed the door, he was able to lock the door with a key.
And that was
And
it.
yeah, that was it. Once they got behind those doors, it was a wrap for them. Um,
Hmm.
he would literally force himself on them, take it, and a lot of times he would toss them some money afterward, and then he would walk
Yeah.
around like he didn't do anything.
Yeah. He was good for trying to pay,
Hmm.
basically pay after the horrific event, because it seemed like there was some brutality in there. Then everybody would get an envelope, and I think it might have been like $5,000. But in his mind, I guess he was compensating them for a service. That's the sickness.
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's similar to Epstein, because Epstein
Hmm.
he basically did the same thing. I mean, he would lure these young girls there, and then for their services, after he
Yep.
basically took what he wanted, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to give you some money, so we're gonna count this as prostitution,
Hmm.
right?"
Right.
And I'm just like the I'll tell you one thing that tripped me out about Nygaard. Actually, there's two. There's two. But the biggest one, speaking of the compensation that he used to use in terms of, I guess, making it seems like he was compensating and that was okay for what he did. He had an assistant that was from the Bahamas. Yeah, the assistant,
We
right?
talked
The
about that.
assistant.
The enabler.
Listen,
Yeah.
the enabler, because all of them have one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Epstein
Right.
had
Mm.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? R. Kelly had his enablers. Not necessarily sure who Bill Cosby's was yet or who Weinstein's was, but we can get to that later, right? But I
Yeah, I was
remember
gonna
he
say
said
Hugh
that
Hefner had several.
he had several.
Wow.
He had them on payrolls, and that was at a time that nobody spoke about that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there was so his assistant, his assistant enabler, she said that she had done the things that she had done so that he wouldn't see her that way and that he wouldn't
Hmm.
do that to her. But
Right.
after he did do that to her, he said, "Oh, don't take what happened the other day the wrong day. Don't take it personal. Excuse me. Don't take it personal." And
Yeah.
she said, I still had to come back and go
Yeah.
to work because I didn't
Hmm.
have any financial means,
Money. Yeah.
Can you just imagine the mental gymnastics that you have to do in order to make that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have to start
That's
lying to
the
yourself. You
yeah,
literally have to start lying to yourself.
and
That's all it
hard.
was. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. To go back to when
Crazy.
he was in Canada, I picked up that when he did get suspected of treating women or being aggressive or raping women or assaulting women, they wouldn't put
Hmm.
it in the newspaper.
Yeah.
They were going to pull it out the news. They said that we're not going to run any more stories on him assaulting other women because we have advertisers that are going to pull out. I was
Hmm.
like, whoa. And then that's what I want to say after that, he moved and came down to the Bahamas. And that's when he, at first, it was all white women
Hmm.
in
Yeah,
Canada.
in the beginning
Yeah.
when he was taking advantage of the people that worked for him, because you gotta
Hmm.
realize at first he started off with the people that were accessible, because he
Hmm.
wasn't at the point of power yet.
Mm,
So the only power that he had was within his business or within his
The
company.
organization.
So therefore he
Yep.
started off that way.
Hmm.
and a lot of them knew how he was.
Yeah, yeah, but in order, some of them kept their job. They wanted to keep their job, so therefore they went ahead and took it. I think one lady, she was talking about going to a hotel with him. They went on a business trip, and she woke up and he was in the bed with her
Yep.
at the hotel because they had conjoining rooms.
Hmm. And she thought that the conjoining rooms was weird. And can you imagine? Oh my gosh! Can you imagine the kids, the son who actually had to find out what he was the product of? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And actually had to
Yeah.
yeah,
speak. And actually had to speak on and be like, "Mom, you need to come forward with this because I am the product of this." But can you imagine how the mental gymnastics that he had to do in order to feel?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, the things that he had to come into reckoning with. You know, sex addiction and sex trafficking and human trafficking is much more pervasive than it touches.
Hmm.
It's it literally touches every part of society, and when
right.
people are closely like linked to it, it's so
Yeah.
harmful. And the addicts, they don't even understand the damage that they're doing because they're narcissists, and narcissists just don't give a shit. So
They really
Right.
yeah,
don't.
yeah, like full blown narcissism, like
Yeah.
8 of 9 DSM, you know, like dead serious. I mean, I was like, holy crap! I was like, these dudes are like case studies,
Yeah, took it
case
Mhm.
to
studies.
a whole nother level
Oh,
of
yeah.
I mean, victim after victim after victim. And once he moved to the Bahamas, and
It
by
was a
it
wrap.
being a poor area, and a lot of these girls were not used to the caliber of lifestyle that he lived, so he introduced these things to them. He was able to lure a lot more people in. And not only was it the girls in the local girls in the Bahamas, but he also flew other ones in that were basically handlers.
That's the part that got me, man. I'm like,
Yeah, he
what?
would, have people come in and do the recruiting and handling the girls,
Mhm.
and basically keeping them in line. And he
But
just
wait,
was able
it
to do what
wasn't
he
just
wanted
the
to do.
girls. I'm sorry, my bad. I just had to, it
Go
wasn't
ahead.
just the girls. He did the same thing to all his coworkers and his employees. He did the
Mhm.
same thing to his
Mhm.
employees because I read an article where this woman, she said that she was just starting. She had just got her job. Her and her husband, they were supposed to be taking care of all of these pamper parties that he used to have, right?
Mhm.
And yes, girl.
And
And she said when
Pamper
she first,
parties.
explain the
yes, the
pamper
pamper party.
parties a little bit so they know what we're talking about.
Okay, so in case you just tuned in, we're talking about Peter Nygaard, and Peter Nygaard is the biggest human and sex trafficker and predator. Like, we're talking 40 years, 50 years worth
Yeah.
of
Mm.
manipulation of just predator behavior, manipulation, sex trafficking, human trafficking all of that, right? And the way
Right.
that he used to get, he basically bought a whole island. He bought just a corner in the Bahamas, but he basically bought the whole island because he paid off the politicians, he paid off the policemen, he paid off the local officials, he paid off everybody. So he owned that
Yep.
entire island. So
Right.
what he did was he decided he was going to have these things called camper parties, right? And he said, "Oh, I started it because I wanted to pamper my employees, and I just wanted to, to have them eat some nice food and get their nails done and their have them have massages, da 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 da." And it sounds innocuous, right? Completely
Mhm.
innocuous. And then come to find out that these were his breeding grounds to basically to feed his addiction. They were his
Yep.
predator, his stalking grounds. Like
Yep.
there was one lady who became a handler for him, and he had several, right? And she was like, the first day that I went to this thing, she was like she had a really bad childhood and all kinds of stuff. And she was like, "Oh, I get to go get my nails done. I've never had my nails done." And she's like 16 at the time.
Mhm.
She was a runaway and all kinds of stuff. And she was like, "Yeah, I want to go get my nails done, and I want to actually eat today. I want to eat food." Imagine giving your soul away for food, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway,
Right.
but she was like, "I just want to go there and have all this stuff happen to me." And she said the first time that she met him at this party. She got her nails done, had a massage, all that kind of stuff. It was great. And then he came out like way later in the night. Like I guess everybody was already feeling themselves or whatever, because he
Mhm.
of course liquor would be abundant. And at these parties,
Drugs.
he would just pick
Period.
her. Yes.
Yeah,
So he
everything
grabbed her
was
hand,
available to them.
everything, drugs, all of it. So she said that he just came, Peter Nygaard came and grabbed her hand and just walked her off. And she was like, "Why is this man grabbing my hand?" She said, "I thought he was just going to show me around the compound." And no,
Mhm.
he led her right to his bedroom
Yeah.
and took advantage of her. And I was like mind blown, mind completely blown.
Yeah.
That
So we can
he
go back to the beginning where we were discussing like that he was taking the passports for some of the women, and those are some of the things that we had listed in the previous show about what the human traffickers will do. They get you there, and then they take everything from you.
hmm
So then basically you're stuck there.
Yeah.
hmm he had
So
one
a
girl
lot of
locked
these,
up for 3 months.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of these girls that he flew in, because they weren't just the local girls that he was getting. I mean, he had to
One.
been,
One
man,
missed. It
just
was a
all
one in a
day, every day.
pageant. One that was in a
Uh-huh.
pageant that won a pageant, or she won, and he started sending her Peter Nygaard clothes, and then next thing you know, he flew her in. The day she got there, she thought that she was coming there to sign to be a model.
Hmm.
The girl told her, "Look, this is what's getting ready to happen. This is what he's going to do to you tonight." And she was like, "Oh no, I'm not here for all of that." She said, "I tell you what, I'll take it the first night, but the second night you on your own." And she said that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
The first night the girl took it for her. The second night she had to take it. And she said, "I stayed in my room for a couple of days. And when I did finally come out and see him, he acted as though nothing ever happened."
So unfortunately, with this whole case, the crazy part about it, and what's very sad, and my heart goes out to those young girls in the Bahamas, is he's in Canada locked up.
Mm.
So right now he's in jail in Canada. United States is trying to extradite him to the United States. They're working on that. So those ladies get justice. But the girls in the Bahamas probably will never receive justice for this, because so many palms were greased and so many politicians were facilitating this, that nobody is going to try to press charges and extradite. And I don't know what the extradition laws are in Bahamas, if they can even go that far or if they would even try. But these young girls in the Bahamas will never get justice. And
Well,
he's
here's the
82
thing.
years old. If he dies in prison, most of the other ladies won't get it either.
Well, here's the thing. He's going to go away to jail, and he's going to face criminal charges from Canada and the U.S. Right?
Mm.
He won't
Okay.
face
Right.
charges. He won't face charges from the Bahamas, but he will face charges from the U.S. and from Canada. And there's
Right.
also a part of the so his neighbor that he got into a feud with, the
Kevin
one who
Bacon.
actually,
Not the
I thought it
Mr.
was
actor.
the actor
Bacon,
the whole time.
Not the actor.
Not the
right? Not
actor,
the
not
actor.
Kevin Bacon,
Yes,
the actor. He owns
yes,
a lot
the
of money
hedge
in the
fund
hedge
manager.
fund.
Yes,
Yeah.
but what and then what happened is he messed around, he messed around and found a real one because I love the
Yeah.
way that they said it on that documentary. They was like, what happened is he got away with this for so long until he found somebody is just as petty, but yet had twice as much money and twice as much patience.
Right.
That was the beautiful part.
As he had.
So what
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. So what Mr. Bacon did is he set up a foundation where I want to say that they got mental health counseling. They
Mhm.
also had some other resources, but I want to say that the civil case that they have in court for him now, which is different than the criminal case, that they should get some type of money back from that civil case
Okay.
because that civil case has a lot of the ladies from the Bahamas on there. They're involved in that too. So they should get some type of restitution. But criminally, he's gonna pay the price for that. Cause yeah, he
Mm.
just
Right. Yeah, he
Yes, he
yeah,
said,
did.
but I was felt sorry for them because I was like, your own, your own city, your own territory, your own country, they not even willing to stand up. That's got to be hurtful. You know, even though you're compensated and uh having something taken away from you like that, it doesn't make a difference what the compensation is. It'll never be enough. Now, of
fact.
course, they will be able to be compensated, but at the end of the day, these girls aren't safe. How do you feel safe if the where you born and raised and grew up won't even fight for you? We got
Mm.
this man comes from a whole this man Kevin Bacon comes in, he's not a native, but he felt sorry enough for these girls to be able to put this fund together. But what happens when the next one comes? Who's gonna protect these girls?
Yep.
Mm.
That's true. That's true. And that's it. That's it. That is a question. That's a question that's to be answered.
Yeah.
Who is gonna protect those girls?
Yeah,
You know, when
for
this
the
type of
when the
stuff
next
happens.
Peter Nightgard comes, because you think just like we saw the documentary, other people did too. You think there's not a
Another
somebody
one
else
out there.
thinking right now this might be the shoot? I might as well go to the Bahamas,
Yeah.
That's
and it don't
fact.
even have to be on the grants that high of a level. It can be on even a lower level. Like they don't give a damn about these girls at all.
Mm-mm.
So the
Mm-mm.
best place for a predator to be is where they don't care.
They actually said in there, yes, that all they need, they look for the people who are desperate enough, just desperate enough, not completely overwhelmingly desperate, but just desperate enough that they can manipulate
Mhm.
them and they can warp their mind, they can gaslight them into thinking that what they're doing is actually is almost like Stockholm syndrome. You know what I'm saying? A
Mhm.
little bit.
Mhm.
Like if they can
Huh.
manipulate them into like Stockholm, that like gaslighting
Yeah.
them into believing,
That
oh, this
part.
is good for you. Me abusing you is
Right.
good for you.
Right.
Yeah,
And
Right.
that's
$5,000, I mean to American 14-year-old, $5,000 envelope. So think about it. It may not everybody may not have come forward. The ones that did come forward, they were really hurt and devastated, and it messed them up. And I'm sure some of the others that didn't come forward. But if you think about $5,000, and we're talking about the poverty level in the Bahamas, that's feeding them for 5, 6 months. You think
yeah,
somebody
literally.
mama didn't send them up there and say, "Girl, you better go up there to the pamper party because I heard you such and so and so."
You ain't lying because you got some of them out there who do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Am
So
I the
that
only
kind
one
of
who had a talk with? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ma.
go
I'm
Go
ahead,
sorry.
go
ahead.
ahead. No,
Go
no.
ahead.
No, because I was so after I watched, I had to have a serious talk with my
Yeah,
9-year-old.
exactly.
You know, did
Yeah,
Mhm.
anybody did anybody watch that type of stuff and have a talk with it? Like,
Yeah.
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 All
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
All week.
If you're not talking to your kids and did we get permission? We got permission.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
John threw something out there during the powwow, and I was like, we need to put that out there.
Yeah. So in
We really
terms
do.
of one of our solutions, so we were discussing strategies within the family to safeguard the children, right? But there was a strategy that was employed by a good friend of mine with her. How old is it? She's about to be 10. Okay, so 10-year-old daughter. 10-year-old daughter. No, I'm sorry. She's about to be 12. I'm thinking of somebody else. All right, she's about to be 12. So she has access to. Well, she has limited access to the internet, but more particularly on I believe it's Roblox. So she created this profile. This is the mother. She created this profile and just developed a relationship with her daughter, and just posed as if she was, a molester, a trafficker. And she was very proud to see the results because her daughter cussed cussed her out, albeit I mean coming from a 12-year-old, but still basically she passed. But it's the concept is essentially this: you as the parent, you create a fake profile. Your children don't know about this yet. You create a fake profile and you try to develop this relationship with them, and you're just going to monitor to see how they respond. And if it gets too far, then all right, you need to let them know, like, hey, you failed the test.
You need to sit down and have a conversation real
Right.
quick.
Exactly.
You should be having a conversation with them, period. You
Yeah.
don't talk
It
to
should be
strangers
very
online.
often.
Yeah,
It should
every
be
so
very
often you should
often.
be, hey, because my daughter goes to, I don't want to be that parent, where I got her at home all the time. She just started high school this year. They have a lot of activities that go on in high school. You got the football games, you got basketball games, you got dances, you got so much stuff. I don't want to be that parent, so let's have this talk. You don't drink anything anybody gives you. You have your own money.
Right.
You don't take rides. You call me. I will come get you. Ain't no, well, she said this. No, it ain't none of that. I want you to be safe. And if you're constantly seeing someone, the same person over and over again, that's a problem. That means that you're being tracked. And hey, these people, just like our technology is upgrading, they are upgrading with the technology.
Upgrading too. Yep.
Yes,
Oh my
very
gosh,
much.
yes they are.
We were discussing patterns Friday, basically about have you should have patterns. Your family should have some type of pattern where you know
Yeah,
what's going on. Like,
yeah,
some type of check-in pattern, something that if something's off, you should be able to know that this ain't right. And we may already have those patterns established as parents and don't realize it, but then there's some that just are all over the place and no structure. But yeah, definitely some type of pattern should be, set up. I think John even mentioned the safety plan.
Yes,
Just
yeah.
like you got other plans in the house, fire plans or whatever, you need a safety plan on if something was to happen, what are we going to do?
right.
And go ahead, John, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and
I'm
I was
just
going to
bringing it into
also
you.
follow up in lieu of that safety plan. Invest in some GPS tracking devices. So, of course, if we're speaking on average, teenager, just on average, the teenager, we could say 12, 12 and 17, right? But what if you have children that don't have phones? If you're like me, that's kind of old school, you don't believe in giving your kids phones, right? You can still invest in tracking devices, right? Those Apple, oh my gosh, the
Air
name's right
tags.
there. The air
Air
tags, yeah.
tags.
The air tags. So it could be something as simple as, hey, put this in your sock, or hey, put this in your pocket. Hey, put this in the side of your shoe. And if I don't hear from you at this time, I'm going to be checking the tracker, and boom, okay. Oh, you're still over there. All right. Right. So that's just one idea. Of course, there's a lot more. There's more elaborate tracking devices out there because the United States is aware that this is a growing problem. I even researched that there was one company called Life 360 that their GPS or their tracking software was actually used by a trafficker, and they did not know. The CEO did not know that was happening. It's like, whoa,
Wow.
the irony. You're using our devices
So
for the very thing that we're
protection.
trying to protect,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying about the satellites, that they have access to that, right? But still, as parents, I know this is a very growing concern. So having a safety plan, it doesn't have to be like super complicated, but just have some measures in place. Just have like start formulating the thinking plan. This isn't something that you have to necessarily practice and rehearse every single day, but just making your children aware of it, and even inviting them to participate in the process. Let them fish out some ideas, because this is a collective effort. So yeah, definitely developing that safety plan and incorporating some sort of GPS tracking, so that you'll know where they're at. Even secondary, okay, your child gets snatched up by any happenstance. They're going to get rid of the phone or any smartwatches that they have on them.
Right.
So what else would you have? And then, of course, we were also talking about reporting missing persons to the police. So contrary to belief, actually contrary to what television showcases, contrary to what television showcases, you can report a child or an adult missing. It doesn't require 24 hours. It doesn't require 48 hours. If you notice that they're out, and they're gone longer than normal, you can report that to the police. And it really does help to have all of your information present so that they can expedite their search.
There you go. Go ahead, Ivy, because you've been waiting.
I see her. I see them. They moving.
Yeah.
They running.
You is on mute.
Is she?
Yes.
No, she lost.
What?
What?
I don't know. She's talking, but we can't. Oh, go ahead. What?
You hear me now? Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
My mic turned off, girl. Girl, me and my hamsters, we be picking the wrong microphone before we come on here. Okay, so listen, right?
Go ahead.
So my 9-year-old, and y'all know I talk about my daughter in depth all the time. I just found out this year she's got to walk to school. It's only a quarter of a mile. However.com, I was like, right?
Right.
Right.
And y'all know that I deal with an autoimmune illness, and I'm like, there are those days where I know I might not be able to get her to school. So I was like, I gotta keep her protected, right? So I just bought her an Airbolt GPS tracker. I looked at all of the GPS trackers that I could possibly think of, and I found stuff wrong with every single one of them, because y'all know I have an Android and I don't have that Apple phone. And I love my Android and I'm not switching. But
Mine too.
but anyway, I was looking for something that has the technology that is still good. Anyway, listen, I bought her 2 GPS trackers. There is this lady online who makes these security kits for little girls. It's literally like she puts a Kubotan, she puts a door opener, she puts a seatbelt opener, she puts pepper spray, um, she puts like these other safety devices, but they're really cute and they're really like compact and they're about this big. And she sends out, and I forgot what the name is called. Let me go online and see exactly what it's called. But I thought it was so cute. It's like this little thing. It's called a Lux security kit, right? And she puts all of this, oh, and including an alarm, like a loud sound alarm, like you push a button and it just like it amplifies like out for miles. She puts all of this stuff, and I just got her this little kit too. And she's got a bike. She's got a bike like I am not playing, because this stuff right here is crazy. And that was a part of the plan. The part of the plan was to work with Airbolt to get a great GPS tracker. It doesn't lose a battery for 12 months. So it's not like, yeah, that's that right there. That was the game changer. And I was like, you can still put it in like one of those little AirTag watches.
Mhm.
So that's my safety plan for my little girl, because I say all the time, I'm like, we might be in Washington, and Washington is a little different, but predators are everywhere, and it does not matter.
Yeah. They're number
Yeah,
3 on the
yeah.
list. Top 5.
So
Oh yeah,
I
here
was,
it goes.
we were on the prevention and how to save. So just listen to these statistics real quick. Black women make up to 40% of the survivors of human trafficking. Black youth comprise 51% of all prostitution arrests under the age of 18. So, and then the top 3 states is California, Florida, and Texas. And the reason I brought that up is because it sounds like we got a big problem in our community. So, because it looks like our women and our girls are the targets and the main ones that are being drug into this mess.
Mm.
And So there's a proverb, African proverb that says the ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people.
Mm. Say that one more time. Say that one more time for posterity, because
The ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people.
wow.
So,
Mm,
and I'm only saying
Beautiful.
that because we talked about social responsibility,
Yeah.
and that was one of the questions that were placed there. So, how do we prevent ruin in our nation? How do we prevent this 40%? How do we drop this down to 20%? How do we get this down to 10%? Because from these numbers are high in our community.
Hmm.
If you listen to the victims, they will tell you most of them they came from broken homes.
Hmm.
They
yes.
came from places where they felt like they had no options. They didn't have strong support systems. And that's for anybody who is going through any type of abuse. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you don't
Hmm.
feel like you have a strong support system, and when I say support system, I'm talking, oh, I can be out here tomorrow because my daddy's not going to stand for this. Oh, don't worry about this. My brothers are going to come and pick me up. Or,
Right.
yeah, like I'm okay. I can be down for a month, and I know that such and such will be there to help me get on my feet.
Right.
The women who are getting caught in these circumstances don't have that. And let's go ahead and keep it a buck. The US government hasn't necessarily provided for Black families to be that support system for our Black
Right.
women. And it's the
Right.
reason why globally across the world, I mean, not just the US government, but also other countries. You have other countries where, Black women are just, they're living below poverty lines because the governments are not, they're not making it accessible for generational wealth. When you don't have that type of wealth to be on a different level, yeah, there's no support system. The biggest thing is a support system.
Well, I have to.
The reason why these women are getting abused.
Yeah, and then it did say child welfare, juvenile justice system, foster care kids, runaways, and homeless youth were also the targets of this. But I sit here and I'm like, how did Big Mama and Mama make it? Because we say that we don't have this and we don't have that, but we didn't have it then. Think about all the
Mm,
things we had, a lot less then than we got now. But one thing we did have was pride, and we had those
mm,
conversations, and then we had dignity.
mm,
We've taken we've taken the dignity out of our homes, and this is not I'm not targeting everybody. I'm saying just as a whole, when you sitting up and we calling our kids B's and H's, and a man comes
Girl,
and presents this to them and say, "Hey, B, what's up with you?" So on and so forth. You can't feel no less of a woman when that man come and call you a B if your mama, the person that you loved first, the
Yep.
person that the first love of your life, sits up and calls you those things. So how do we change that? You know what I'm saying? How do we reverse that? And I know we can't be up in everybody's home and we can't be in everybody's
right.
business, but we got two good men on the panel, and I know I don't want to put everything on their shoulders, but we got other good men out there too. I'm like, are we gonna start stepping up?
Well,
Yeah.
I am an optimist, right? And I'm going to always
Okay.
highlight the progress
Yeah.
that we have made.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have, right? So what we have here is, if you think about an ecosystem, there's dangers in an ecosystem, right? And the family unit is a protective factor. And some families they've been neutralized, and there's
mm,
generations of that neutrality, right? So those who are making the effort, they're serving their duty, right? And there is this unconscious but well-known realization that you can only take care of what you can take care of, right? So
Right.
you have individuals, men, fathers, uncles, that are taking care of their families, but then that's like, all right, that's your family. And you might be able to take in a few others. You might be able to help a few others, right? So what about those ones who aren't being taken care of, right? And you even mentioned the child protective services, right? That they have some involvement in there, and that there are some children that are even vulnerable inside that system, allegedly being taken care of, right? So it is a multifaceted problem. There are people who are combating it, and kudos to all of them out there, mothers and fathers, family members as well. If you are present in your child's life and just being there, mentoring, guiding, instructing, nurturing, loving on them, right? You are that protective factor. And yeah, there are some out there that's going to get, caught in the fire, unfortunately. So I just want to remind everyone out there that what we've been doing does work, right? It's just that it's not enough of us in terms of numbers that are doing it. And we're not going to be able to reach everyone. We're not. I mean, we were discussing this earlier this week, right? How do you reach the people that aren't doing it? Well, if they're not going to listen, you can't force them to do something that they don't want to do. They're not motivated to do it, right? But
Right.
let's tap into that real quick. Let's tap into that, the aspect of social responsibility. Do we feel a social responsibility to respond to or prevent human trafficking? Now, I'm just saying this in the larger scale. The logical answer, if you ask anybody on the street, the logical answer is going to be yes, right? But that could also just be a surface level answer. I'm just going to say what's socially appropriate. But then there's the question of, well, if you feel this responsibility, then there's a follow-up question. What are you doing to respond to or prevent human trafficking? What are you doing, right? That's the large question. So just going around, right? Just for our panel, and then also for our audience members, feel free as we're going around on our panel, really contemplate that question right there. Do you feel a social responsibility to respond to or prevent human trafficking? This question is important because it really signifies how much we really care about this. We typically don't care about something until we feel the effects, until it affects us personally.
Right.
Understandable, right? Understandable. But we have had protests where people who are not personally affected, they participate in those protests. There are people who are not personally affected by a lot of social issues, a lot of social causes, but they volunteer their time and their resources simply because they know, hey, I have a responsibility to my community, to my nation, right? So let's go around. Ivy, we can start with you. Do you feel a social responsibility to respond to or prevent human trafficking? And just list one thing that you are doing to try to combat that.
Um, I I want to say I think that I do. I do touch on it. Um, I am okay. So I'm personally passionate about speaking about mental health, right? Um, I am passionate. Anybody who knows me knows that I am passionate about speaking up against narcissists and narcissism and people who are abusive, and people who do abusive things. And a lot of times, especially Black girls who are easily, let me not say easily manipulated, but who are searching for a connection, and because of the fact that they are searching for a connection, are more easily or more apt to latch on to an abuser because of that. So I speak about that at length, to different people. If somebody was to ask me to speak about it at a conference or whatever, I would do that too. I write about it, and I don't know if that's enough, but for me, dealing with people who are abusers and who are sick is huge. It affects me. I feel like it affects me personally because of the way that I grew up. So, um, I would like to say that that's the way that I am helping thus far. And
Mhm.
the reason why I also want to be an art therapist is to help people who have gone through things like that, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. Because I feel that art therapy helps to combat the trauma that people have gone through in their lives. So I won't say that I have focused in necessarily on human trafficking, but I've
Mhm.
definitely focused on trying to help people who have gone through traumas, because who have gone through traumas at the hands of abusers, narcissists, and addicts. Like that's what I stand on every day, like without fail. So
And I want to
yeah,
highlight, you did mention something earlier about your daughter. That is helping too,
Yeah.
because that's one
Yeah.
less person that's going to feed the supply.
Exactly.
We also have
Yeah.
to think, and we have to also think about that as well. We don't want to feed the supply that's out there. We know that there's a demand, but we don't want to feed the supply. So if you're helping just one child,
That's it.
Yeah. There's a
that
trickle
still
down
counts.
effect.
There
Yeah,
you
there's
go.
a trickle down effect
That
because
ripple
you start
effect.
at home, then who knows, Ivy, your daughter may tell the next 9-year-old.
she has.
My
I
mom,
have
my
Oh,
mom, this is
dang.
that, and this, and then that tells
There it
another
is.
parent, this is this. No, we
There it
never
is.
know. But
li- listen. We have a joke in our house. We have a joke in our house because we watch a lot of anime, and I tell her, I'm like, "Hey, don't ever trust a brother with fur on his shoulder, right?" So I tell her, like, I told her this like a couple of years ago. Think about it. All of the villains in anime normally they had like some dude with
Wow,
fur on their
man.
shoulders, right? See now, look, you're gonna be looking for him. You're gonna be looking for him, right? So, so then that transferred into look for the cat with invisible fur on his shoulder. If you
Mm,
feel fuzzy, if it feels weird, if it feels strange, if you know that it doesn't, that whatever that person is saying, if it doesn't feel right, I don't care if it's just a twitch, make sure that
right.
you mention that.
Yeah.
And she actually mentioned that to a couple of her girlfriends like last year. And her teacher called me and told me, it was like, hey, I just want you to know that you raised a good kid because she's over here telling these girls, don't trust these with fur on their shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's, I like
And the
that.
reasons
yeah,
being,
that's awesome.
so
Hey,
yeah,
quote that. Quote that.
fur on the shoulder.
Look, quote that,
I'm gonna put
please.
it on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Don't trust the anime character with fur on the shoulder.
Mm.
All right, King, you've been quiet over there. Can
Whole
you
time.
respond to the question?
Um, it's a loaded question, but it's still light. Um, I would say, for me, it would be a hard yes.
Okay.
As far as like preventing human trafficking, on the scale that human trafficking is, there's no way I'll be able to touch that. But like you just pointed out with Miss Tanner, everything starts in the home front, and everything starts with self. So that's why we'll begin at with self in the home front. And as Miss Aaron said, it will trickle down from there. I think we fail to realize that all decision, choices, and execution has a consequence. The consequence is negative and it's positive, and they working on hormonal balance. So just because you made a decision for yourself doesn't mean that it weighs out and affects somebody else. We have to think about that from a positive level as well. That's also karma. So, like Miss Tanner said, her decision trickled down to her daughter. Her daughter's decision trickled down to the school and a couple of her female friends, to the point that the teacher had to take the responsibility to reach out and say, "Hey, you're doing your job," and that right there, that's social responsibility. So
There you go.
that's
Positive
peace.
reinforcement.
Yeah.
All right. God level?
Uh, Answer the question first. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Do you
Yes.
feel a social responsibility?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. And
All right.
this show is my proof.
Okay.
She said that with her
Raising
chest.
awareness through
She said it
using
with
this
her chest.
platform to raise.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
This
Right.
true.
show
That's true.
is my
Okay.
proof.
Okay.
There it
Cool.
is.
All right. Miss Aaron.
Yes, definitely. Those, as y'all get to know me, y'all realize that I am auntie. I got a bunch of, I've raised so many children, it's ridiculous. But I always try to keep that focus of what I instill in these children, they are going to take with them. I like to feel like that I have enough of a positive effect on them that they'll take this with them for the rest. And then I say crazy stuff, so they're gonna take it with them for the rest of their life anyway, because it's just gonna resonate. So, but I feel like if I could save at least one, or if I could tell at least one, we're not here to combat the $150 billion problem that
Mm,
Yeah.
they having. But
hmm
if we can touch one or two and another one or two, you know, it's like if the feeling that you get to know that you just saved one or that you just saved two.
That part.
So
Yeah.
we on the grand scheme of things, we thinking on a big level of the entire industry. But I like to look in my community and see, I remember her. I remember telling her this, that,
mm,
and this. I remember him. I remember saying this, or even them coming and saying, "Hey, Auntie, thank you for this, that, and the third." So we teaching these kids, we may not even be knowing that we're controlling human trafficking, or we prevented some human trafficking, because the things that if we keep instilling these positive things in them, it may affect them in all aspects.
Yes.
mm.
So yes, I believe that we got a lot of social responsibility, and I believe that's one. Now, do I go out and advocate and pick it? No, I don't. But I know that if I can reach five or six of them and teach them a few things, then they can teach five or six more, and they can teach five or six more, and this is how we get our community back.
Mm.
Because
That's
we
Like
facts.
start,
that.
just like they poured all them toxins in our community. If we pour all this positive love and purity back into our community, we can get it back. Okay, I'm done because I got a little teary eye. I felt that.
Oh,
Yes, I felt
Oh,
that too.
oh,
yeah,
Yes.
babe.
Welcome.
yeah.
Welcome.
Thank
Oh
you.
How it
my
happens,
gosh.
man. That's how it
Nah.
happens, man. Having resources for, I think
Yeah.
it's
So
important. Is
I
yeah.
will
Go ahead. Go ahead. My bad. Go
I
ahead.
do I do feel a sense of social responsibility, albeit it's not passion, it's not very intense, but I do feel it. Um, and I realized this past week, just watching the few documentaries with my kids, and even having the discussion, and the fact that they were asking questions and that they were interested to learn more, that lit a fire under my ass to ensure that I stay educated. Because yeah, when kids ask questions, I do not like to be incompetent. I like to know. So
Right.
as a parent, I know that's the first step. Is you can't teach your children anything if you haven't learned it yourself, right?
That
So
part.
you acquire that responsibility by becoming educated and aware first, and then you're extending that and saying, all right, let's have a conversation. And we did that throughout the week. We did that throughout this week, and I know it's made a favorable impression. And even just researching strategies in which we could curtail it. And then also with the boys, that's a big part of it, ensuring that my boys have a healthy sexual mindset. It's how they view women, how they view their mom, how they view
Yeah.
you know sister, right? How you view the opposite sex, that's very important. And
Yeah.
preventing and curtailing this, raising boys to be respectable. And then also, yeah, with the martial arts, we are a martial arts family. And this is just the first step, but I want to try to expand that over time. It's not going to be heavy, right? I've even researched a few organizations that I want to donate to, because I'm not going to be out here patrolling these streets, and I'm not going to be out here investigating. So I'd rather put my money towards the organizations that will do that. So I have about two or three that I'm bouncing between right now. But yeah, I'm feeling it. So that leads me to the
Hey.
next one.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That conversation goes right along with human trafficking. Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Now,
I have discussed manipulation, but not
mhm,
sex trafficking.
mhm.
I think I'm not ready. I'm not
She
ready to
was
talk
just say
about
she might
sex
not be
yet.
ready for sex,
Eh,
the sex thing
Yeah,
yet.
Yeah. The sex
she's only
part.
9.
understood.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Understood.
So I'm not ready there. And y'all know I'm ready for a lot of stuff, but
But
just
not
Yeah.
that right
sex
now.
in
That's
general,
okay.
Yeah, I'm not ready just yet. But
Yeah.
I made sure that she knows that people are manipulative, and that
Mhm.
there are
Yeah.
people who want to do things to her because she's pretty and she's young and she's
Mhm.
very sweet.
Yeah.
And I tell her that all the time. I'm like, not everybody has the
Yeah.
best intentions in mind. So we that's what we talk about in my house.
How often do you think we should as parents, how often do you guys think we should have this conversation? Do you think once a year is enough? Is that sufficient?
No.
Um once
About every few months.
every
Yeah.
few months just revisit it?
Yeah.
But you can add,
You can go off your
I know
children for
it's not
that.
like beating a dead horse, like saying the same thing over and over. But as you watch, you can see your kids mature, because I've had these conversations with my nieces and nephews, and you will watch them mature. So when you bring it up again, they'll start adding to it, and you realize that it's sunk into them, so you can elaborate a little more, or you can add, or you can, it opens the avenue for a lot of other conversations that need to be had. So as you start watching them, and I'll say every 3 to 6 months,
Okay.
revisit. But every family needs to be having some type of serious conversations anyway.
Mhm.
Not just human trafficking, but you need to be getting in touch with your kid. Be
Yeah.
in your kid's business and don't mind.
That's
Be
facts.
in your kids' business. What's
Yeah.
that?
And
Yeah.
we
I
was talking
remember
about
that.
a difference between preaching and teaching.
Mm.
And when I'm saying being in the kids' business, I ain't saying, like we said, do as I say, because that's what I say, or do what is it? Do what I tell you, not what I do.
Do what I say,
Do
not
as I
as I
say,
do.
not as I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So not
Yeah.
not to that, but at least on a teaching level. Like, this is why I'm telling you this. Because
Mhm.
a lot of stuff we did just because we didn't know why they were saying that.
Mm.
Mm.
Because all they did was just bark out orders, and we just we,
And we
we
were
either
supposed
went
to
with
just
it
go
or we
by
did.
it.
Yeah, we
We
just
just
either went
supposed
with
to
it
do
or
it
we
like
didn't.
what?
Right.
I
And
Yeah.
some of
explained,
us
I
didn't go with
explained,
that.
yeah, I explained to my kid the reason why I'm telling you this. I'm like, look, this is
Yes.
what happened to
There's nothing
mom,
wrong with that.
and this is what happened in this situation, or this is what happened in this situation. I don't want that to happen to you.
There it
And
You
is.
you could be
exactly.
susceptible. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel that way. I try to explain as much from my perspective and my point of view. And I think that I'm not gonna lie to you. Every time I look at my kid and I see, I'm like, maybe she got taller. Come here, let's have a talk. Come here, come here,
Nah.
come here.
Because you
Oh,
get
one of y'all
big
hamsters
now.
got loose. Come here. Yep, girl. Whew. I'm just gonna say out loud,
Uh,
raising girls is not for the faint of heart. I'm just
yeah,
saying. My
Charlotte
two
Lane,
oldest are
baby.
boys, and oh my god.
My daughter
Woo.
is very expensive, very sweet, very kind. She's a good kid. She really is.
You
So
know,
y'all
I
saying y'all keep it real with y'all kids? Is
Yeah,
that what we're
yeah.
saying?
a
Or are y'all
hundred,
formal?
No,
a
we keep it
hundred,
real
man,
over here.
man,
I've been
a
waiting to use
hundred.
this. I keep it a buck.
Oh
I've been
my.
waiting, been waiting to use it. I keep it
Say
a
it with your
buck.
chest, girl.
I keep
Mm.
We keeps it a
keep
buck
it a
over here,
buck.
bro.
Yes.
So who just posted some of these conversations are hard? It says that they're a single father. Excuse me.
Ooh, Lord.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I can
Did you?
imagine
Yeah.
that.
Stephen Harper, my
But I'm
heart goes out to you. I'm dead
Yeah.
serious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't see
Oof.
that.
Yeah.
I am not looking for. He said his oldest is a few days away from 13,
13.
and I guess last month is I guess those hard conversations started for her.
Mm-hmm.
Keep calm and
Mm.
and try my
Oh,
best. I think that's what he
yeah, he
meant.
did
Keep
his
calm and try my
best.
best.
And then my best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, that's all you
The
can really
more
do, man,
you
because it is
talk,
hard.
Yeah.
the more it will flow. Mm-mm.
Right. I was gonna say, the more
Don't let that
comfortable you become with it.
uncomfortable feel like, okay, you're doing something wrong. No, you're just doing something new.
Ah,
That's
nice.
it.
Mm.
There you go.
Oh
That
yeah,
yeah,
she
that's the
start.
perfect way to say that.
No, because she's
Ooh,
Oh,
single father. Yeah.
oh, hug her.
Steven,
Hug her.
Steven,
Hug
Right.
her.
Steven.
Hug
No, hug
her.
him. Hug him. Hug him,
No,
girl.
hug the daughter too. Yeah,
Well, hug her, of
But
course.
this
yeah,
is
Of
something
course.
that I think
yes,
men
because
need to
this
be
is
familiar with
beautiful.
anyway.
Where
Y'all
aunties at?
shy away from these things, but and I know we getting off subject, but why would you put your man parts in something you don't know nothing about?
Woo!
I
Child.
mean, so these are some of the I know John looking like what the I don't know what
Like, where she
no.
just go with
No,
that?
but I'm like to be honest, what like these are some of the things that we know about yours.
Hmm.
So I would, these are some of the things that men need to start getting comfortable knowing about.
Okay. Do we need to have a conversation? What's his name? Steve?
Oh yeah,
Right? Do you?
Steven.
Yeah.
Steve, do not buy tampons.
Yeah,
Do not,
Please don't.
please do not buy her any tampons.
Not yet.
that
Not yet.
causes more cramping. That causes more too
Ju-
much. It just causes
Just
too
Yeah.
many issues.
I
yes.
don't know if she's a steak eater like beef. Kind of keep the beef a little less because it helps with the flow. Keep ibuprofen on hand or Midol. And
They
yes,
have a
some
kit.
days and yes, there are going to be some days she's at school and she's going to be hurting and she's going to want to come home. And guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Let her.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
She may have a bit of craving of chocolate. Keep a chocolate bar around. Emergency, give it to her.
Emergency chocolate.
Yeah,
Extra,
That's
yeah,
facts.
extra clothes
please,
when she's at
please,
school,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you may have to get a woman to come along to teach her
yeah.
how to pad herself
Yes,
because I mean,
yes.
I was
True.
always taught nobody should know that you're on your cycle,
Right.
No,
meaning
that's
that
So
as a
you
woman,
should be
you should
carrying a
be cleaning
purse
up
every
behind
day.
yourself, right? You
Yeah.
should be cleaning up behind yourself when you go into the bathroom.
Hmm.
You you should have things in your purse and so on and so
Yes.
forth. So you
Yes.
may need a woman to
A
come in
woman
and
take
to
her
show her
shopping.
how to, and some are heavier than others. So that means that
Yes.
if she has one of the most embarrassing thing as a young girl is to have that bleed through. Now as we
That's
older,
Mm.
it
very
we
is.
done
embarrassing.
got used
Yeah.
to it. We've really gotten used to it, but you
Yeah.
want her to be as padded and protected as
That's
possible
possible.
so she doesn't have to go through that. Because it
Yeah.
is embarrassing. And then you have other kids that are not on the maturity level as her,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
they will definitely make fun.
That
And I
part.
just want to point out, he says that he's listening. He says
Uh,
that he's listening
Okay.
in the
yeah.
comments.
Yeah.
Something else. There is a lady on Etsy who sells the Cycle of Life like welcome pack for single fathers.
Mm,
I actually think that that's a good idea because there's also a book that's in there that kind of speaks to young women that might be able to fill in those blanks where as a single father you might not necessarily have,
there it
you
is.
know, you might not
Yeah.
necessarily have that knowledge. So that's just something that I can
Yeah.
kind of fill that in there. But the biggest thing is love her.
That's
when
it.
when a
Bang.
yes when a young girl and a young
Celebrate her.
man, that part, because
Love
when they
her
go
and
through that
celebrate
change, it could
her.
be rough. Is
When
there a
when
holistic way to address your daughter's
yeah.
cycle? Yeah,
When my
I say get some
youngest,
books.
I hugged her. I cried. You know, took her to dinner. We went shopping. We bought
Oh,
everything we needed. I said, "I'm here if you have any questions." You know, that's a beautiful moment,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It
and
is.
we need to
It
treat it
is.
as. I try to be the way I would have wanted my mother to be with me.
Mm.
Mm.
I told my mother, "Hey, I started my cycle. I believe I'm on my period." She rolled over and said, "Grab a pad, put it on, and then roll back and went back to sleep."
And that right there had to be hard because you don't even know where, how, when
And I'm
you
just
put
like,
it.
okay, yeah. So I was different with my girls.
You did something different because you knew differently.
Fuck it, they needed that.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, to tell you the truth, I think that that's something else. Like young fathers, like single fathers who have young men, because young men, they go through these changes also,
Hmm.
and maybe they need instead of just the birds and the bees talks. I think that it might be, maybe they need to have those talks of, your body is changing, this is what could happen if you don't
Right.
take care of this. Like if you don't, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like all of this stuff. If Brother Diamond was here, so I'll go ahead and speak for him. It's a mental cycle. It's in the mind. It's in the mind. See, you got to change the mental.
Wow, man.
You got to change the mentality. You see, you got it's the mentality, and holistically, so by apate and a potato, and she is going to kill me next week. She gonna kill me. But
That
listen,
was
like for real, I
beautiful.
think
That was beautiful.
I really think that it's like, you know what I'm saying. I mean, honestly, it's a mentality, and it's a mentality like with girls as well as with boys. I think that it needs to some of that stuff needs to be spoken about. Like we need to keep it real and be able to talk about the mentality of what happens, not just in your body, but also what happens in your mind
Mhm.
when
Yeah.
when you're going through those changes. And I think that that would help with you know the mentality, honestly, for when people get older, and maybe they decide to become traffickers or not. I honestly think that working from, like you said, working from the root, like you said, Aaron, sis Aaron, you said work from the root is, it's about the
Yeah,
family, and then everything else will just trickle down.
because we can
So the
change it.
conversations are hard, but they got to be had, man.
They gotta be had.
Right.
They got to
Yeah,
be.
definitely.
Yeah.
Rehearsing helps.
We're having it right now.
Yeah, rehearsing
We are.
helps. Just kind
Man,
of getting.
and we're giving out plenty of ideas. Like the idea with
Oh
the I've been
wow.
telling
She would play
every
sports and rides horses. I'm like, that's gonna be hard.
what I didn't I
Mm,
missed something.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm back on
so
to
Steven said,
uh-huh.
Oh, and then
mm,
yeah,
add to stream. Okay.
yeah.
He's gonna, but you're gonna have to
So
realize, another thing. I'm just gonna say this is, she's about to change up on you. And when I'm
Yeah.
hmm
saying that, I'm saying that because she's about to start feeling all these different things, you are not gonna understand what's going on, and it's gonna
facts,
be hard to deal with. But you're gonna definitely have to be patient with her. But yeah, her hormones are about to kick in, and it'll be one day she hate everybody in the house, and the next day,
facts.
you the
Yeah.
greatest person ever. You may be the person that ruins her life tomorrow, and then bring
Yep.
her back to life the next day. So
And
she's gonna be up and down, and
All
yeah.
over
just
the
not
place.
even just the physical part of it as far as bleeding, but the hormonal part is something that you yeah. I'm gonna pray for you.
Damn. I'm not trying to be funny. Stephen, go ahead and download the Period app where you can keep up with her cycle just as well.
mm,
Dang.
I'm not trying to be
Yeah.
funny,
yeah.
whether it's normal because sometimes we are very abnormal.
Hmm.
And when it gets close to that time, guess what? You'll get a text message saying, "Hey, it's almost close to that time," so you can guard
Right.
yourself and prepare yourself.
Mm,
Because my daughter has her little moments, and she could be very sharp with her words, and I'll look at her and I'll, okay, she PMSing right now. Okay, let me walk
Uh-huh.
away.
Yeah. Yeah, she's getting close. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you know
yeah.
whether to let it go or do I
Let me
need to say
look.
something.
Let me go over here and let me. I got you some chocolate in there. Thank you, mom. Where you going? Back to my
hmm
room? Okay. You need anything? No. Boom. I said, we're here.
That's fantastic. All right.
Yeah, we're here.
All right.
So yeah, it keeps you up to date too. Make sure you keep what she needs.
That's facts. Yeah.
Yeah,
Until she's old enough to take care of it herself.
there
Herself.
you
So
go.
Yep.
Yeah,
okay. Um,
we didn't win.
okay, there was a
Oh, I
question that was up
swear.
there.
Go ahead.
I know we didn't went
We
completely
we
off. I mean, but
always go where the conversation takes us. We didn't
Takes
even
us
get
right.
to the crazy part of Peter Nygaard. But I'm glad we still had this conversation. And you know the
can
craziest part of Peter Nygaard. Ah, man.
The
I want to
fountain
see
of
if you're gonna
youth.
say it, because I'll tell you what I found crazy after you go. You go first. Go ahead,
Oh,
girl.
you want me to go first? Well,
Yes, please.
Peter Nygaard was so sick that he was impregnating these girls on purpose, just to use their fetuses for stem cells to implant in himself because he thought he found the fountain of
Fountain of youth.
youth.
Gave millions, donated millions of
To stem
dollars
cells.
to stem cell research. And it wasn't just stem cell research, it was hold on, wait. It wasn't just stem cell research. It was to actually cultivating the like cultivating the stem cells of the fetus. Like, and that was considered like really controversial. I mean, because they were like, whatever your stance is um on gestation, on terminating gestations, whatever, okay, you have it. But impregnating women
Yeah,
just
just
to
yeah,
make them
it's a
get
heart attack.
abortions.
An abortion to get those stem cells.
Yep.
That's a
Yeah,
And he
monster.
wanted his
it
own
is.
he wanted his own DNA, his own fetuses. I guess it has something to do with helping him stay young.
He
But
wanted to
he's
live forever.
girl.
Well, he might get it if he gets his wish. He'll be living forever in
Can you see
In
him
prison.
a deep dark
110
hole.
in prison?
You know what? It'll be the best for him. It will
Say
be the
that.
best for him. I'm trying to
Say
tell
that.
you. I hope he does live forever. I hope he lives forever.
Man.
Back to that 6x9 that he originally came from. But you got to be careful. People with money. He was something. He was already broken. I'm gonna just put that out there.
Yeah.
Something already broke him at an early age that gave him that okay, that what I'm about to do to this woman is okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Because it didn't
Um.
seem like he had any remorse. He didn't feel like it was like I
None.
said, he felt like that everybody was being paid for their services rendered. It was a customer sales a transaction.
There it is.
When it goes, I think something that needs to be mentioned when you talk about addiction. Let's go ahead and like I say all the time. Let's keep it a buck. This dude was sexually addicted,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh yeah,
And when you speak
definitely.
about the brain of an addict
Oh,
brains, huh? Addict
yeah.
brains do not register remorse, sympathy. They don't think with the frontal cortex of their brain. Everything that they do is all coming from that lizard brain in the back, that primal brain. So it's literally they are living in survival mode with their addiction because they haven't taken the time to actually move any of their thoughts up to the frontal cortex. Do you understand
Mm.
what I'm saying? So if you think about somebody, a billionaire who is rich, who
Mm-hmm.
is literally, he was taking hormones as well as these stem cells. So his brain was completely fried and hijacked. You know what I'm saying? His brain was hijacked by his addiction. He couldn't think of anything else. So everything that he was doing, I even venture to say all of the money that he made, all of the money that he made was going towards, he made the amount of money that he did because he knew that it would feed his addiction. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like if you have somebody who's a functional
Right.
alcoholic who goes to work and punches in
Mm.
every day because they're like, oh, I got to go ahead and get this money so I can go ahead and pay for my six pack later on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So I just think that
Right.
he was,
Exactly.
yeah, I honestly believe that that's the reason why he couldn't. Sexual addicts, they don't have remorse like me and you. They just don't have it. I tried to understand it my damn self, but they don't have it. They'll know that what they're doing is wrong, but they refuse to stop.
Want what they want. Yeah, they can't get past that. They can't get
Yeah.
past the wanting what they want to be able to have that control to say I want this. And this is with any addiction and sexual, drinking, whatever, what have you. Some
Hmm.
people don't have that cutoff where they can say, I know I don't need this, so I'm not gonna do it
Yeah.
today.
No, it's because they're not rational, and it's all because of
Hmm.
the fact that it's literally just a process that's in the back of the brain is just telling them like like whatever their addiction is, it supersedes food. You know what I'm saying? It supersedes food. It supersedes air. Like it
It
literally it
becomes
just
it
it
becomes
Yeah,
overtakes.
what they need.
yeah,
They
Yes,
one of the need.
yeah,
It becomes a need instead of a want, and it's a
yes.
survival.
So
But
yeah.
they living off of it.
yeah. I mean, literally. So every day, his pamper parties, he was living off of that. He
Hmm.
was living off of that. You know? Yeah. So that was his. And you said solutions. I mean,
It
what?
starts at home. We just went through it. It starts at home.
You know what? Not only that, I also think that these people who are predators like this, they
Hmm.
have to pay consequences. They have to pay deep consequences. Deep. The people who are enabling him, they literally say that once people hit rock bottom, that's when they finally start to look at the consequences. But people are not hitting rock bottom because they got people who are not allowing him to hit rock bottom.
Right.
You
And
got to
when you
hit
got
they
that kind of money, you
solutions.
don't need. You're not gonna hit rock bottom because you're always
You're
gonna
Ooh,
never
be
going
able
to
to
hit rock
pay
bottom.
somebody. Yeah, you're always gonna be able to
Always,
pay somebody.
always, until they go to jail or until they get in trouble with the law,
Yeah.
or just like, oh, so all of his stuff. So Peter Nygaard, he's losing all of his money, like his compound in the K now is it now belongs to the Bahamas. Like he doesn't own it anymore. His all of his orders and his clothes, they were all like they were liquidated because of
yes.
oh
Hmm.
yeah, like
People
Dillard's
did
was the one
not
that
want
stopped.
to have anything else to do with him after that. They
No,
Yes.
nobody wants to be
Yep.
associated with that now. And
for the
even the
pedophile,
participants don't want to be affiliated or associated
right?
because I'm sure he had more than just him was at that party.
Oh, of course. Of course. Of course. So the solutions, the predators, they need to actually feel they need to feel their repercussions. They need to get in trouble. As far as the victims that turned into predators, that's a whole different level of fuckery that I just don't think that anybody can really get to. That takes extreme trauma counseling. That's my own personal thought. And then for our own community, so people won't become victims, like Aaron, like you said, and then you too, sis, like and even you, brother John, it starts at home. We got to prevent stuff at home. We gotta make sure that we love our kids, love our girls. I mean,
Man,
in some cases,
And
sometimes
our
even these
boys
boys.
too,
I
because
mean,
our boys
yeah,
we want to prevent our boys from being the traffickers
that part, that part, or even being trafficked, because
because
in
they're
some
yeah, some
cases,
of these boys
yeah,
are being trafficked too.
yeah.
yeah.
So that definitely starts at home. Uh-oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, John. Look, did your microphone die too?
Cardiac arrest. All right. I was gonna say, and being part of the demand, because as long as there is demand, this
Yeah.
problem's gonna persist. As long as there is a
Mm.
demand.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And that's
Right.
sad.
So for the audience members out there, sharing this podcast is part of
Yes.
the solution.
Please
This isn't
share it.
just about us.
Exactly.
Just
Definitely.
sharing this episode helps to raise the awareness. And it's just
Yeah.
we need reminders as a community. I mean, there's so many different social issues. There's so many social ills that are going on. And this is probably one of the chief reasons why it's so difficult to maintain the commitment, maintain the efforts is we get inspired for a little while, we get motivated for a little while, and then it dies down, right? So
Hmm.
having these discussions, a few times throughout the year, reignites that motivation. It reminds us. We need reminders from time to time. So solutions comes down to sharing a missing persons poster or flyer.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
learning how to spot the signs of sex trafficking, human trafficking. It's reading a book on human trafficking. It's supporting a for-profit or nonprofit business that aids in human trafficking prevention. It's being alert for the Amber Alerts that are out there. I know we tend to like, oh man, let me put my
Yeah.
phone to the
Turn it
side.
right on off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
But
all
do we
guilty of
really
it.
look at it though? Do we really look at it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
All
important.
right.
Yeah.
we talked about creating a family plan to prevent against trafficking. And I just want to remind everyone also, prevention is a lot more cost effective, cost efficient than response. Okay, responding to human trafficking is going to be a lot harder. So I'm just emphasizing prevention right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, you could watch another podcast on human trafficking. You can
Loving each other, and getting some of these self-esteems boosted up, where they
Man,
don't
Yeah.
get poured in or coerced into stuff like this.
mm,
have resources for those who are going through a tough time.
Hmm.
mm,
I mean, I know that, sometimes it's hard to say that. Well, I don't have X, Y, and Z myself, but one of the biggest thing was these women. They came from impoverished areas and they didn't have anybody to support them, and that's the
Right.
reason why they got into, like I read a story about one young lady. She was she was past. Her mother was a drug addict, and she actually lost her mother at 6 years old. And then her father had just come out of jail, and him and his girlfriend, she actually watched them beat her 8-year-old brother to death. So she had to go into the foster care system. And you just think about somebody who went through all of that trauma, through
Yeah.
all of that trauma. I mean, and that's the
No
type of person
self-worth.
who is none, none. You tell them to do something, they're going to do it. And that is the biggest part. Is it's not just loving somebody, it's giving somebody some self-worth, and giving somebody some self-worth,
Yeah.
and making them feel like they're worthy of living even, you know.
Right.
I think that that's huge. um yeah, that's really huge.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there.
Thank you.
Can I
That was
share?
good.
Can I share?
Yes.
So I'm passionate about people who are abusers because I was in a bad. I've been in a couple, but I was in a really, really, really bad relationship after my mom passed, and it like it did a number on me. I didn't understand that it was part of the way that I think because of my ADHD, and I always thought it was my fault. But because of the fact that I dug into that a little bit more, and I started sharing with my other peoples out there who are ADHD, that you can be susceptible to that type of abuse, and if you don't have a really strong support system back there, you are more susceptible. So I'm passionate about people who are being abused because of that. And if you learn the reasons, and if you love on people and just give them resources to know that they're okay. I think that that's where the healing starts. I found ladies who had gone through the same thing, and they lifted me, and I needed to be lifted in the time that I went through it. And you got to find other people. You got to find the ones who will push you away, the ones who are like, no, like sometimes you just got to be that little extra boost. And that's how I don't know. I'm just like that anyway. But you take those people and you just lift them up, like love them for real, and give them resources. So that's just my own little piece in there. That's all. I'm done.
No, you're good. That was beautiful. We need that. Everything happens for a reason. I'm glad of the people that I have in my life right now. I appreciate each and every last single one of you. Ivy, John, Aaron. I know
Oh,
Dion ain't here. He's somewhere. You, my brother Dion, he was having some connection issues. That's okay. I appreciate everyone I have in my life right now. I love y'all.
we appreciate you. I love you.
Man,
The reason
man,
why we are here is
cooler than a
you.
fan.
You are the reason. It was you. No.
Is he singing?
Yes.
Oh, I thought I put it on mute.
No, sir, you did not.
Oh,
The
The
reason why
reason
you're here.
we ain't gonna let you live that down, bro.
Not a bit.
Not at all. I'm gonna play it next week for you in its entirety. No, no, guess.
Ba, 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 ba.
I need to go listen to that song now.
Ah, play it. What you? Wait a minute. Last week was Ivy's week,
And it's still gonna be her week.
and it's still
So,
Obviously.
Ivy's week.
yeah, it's still Ivy's week. So
Oh
Yeah.
my
What you got for us
god.
today, sister?
I got I don't remember anything because y'all know my hamsters just don't have the ability.
mm,
So I'm reading, and I hope you
yes.
guys don't mind. Okay,
Read,
look, let me put
honey.
my
Don't
glasses on
yeah,
because
put
y'all
your
know.
glasses on. Do we all need to tone down on the lighting?
Oh.
Okay. Um, for 24 years, you lived life as if no one could, like no one ever could. You played, you shopped, you lived life as if no one could ever. For 24 years, you came into yourself as a woman wonder being put asunder by no one, including Middle Eastern sands. Baby, you G.I. Jane, you fought wars, you loved your independence, and you quick hated the love that your face brought and took a look in the mirror just a little too long. For 24 years, you assumed that no one had the power over you. To take away your Jane, no one had the right, so you walked tall. You carried a big stick of the ones before you after all, and you walked in the dark, thinking of just grand plans. You thought no one could place your boots on the ground like you. Thunk, thunk. For 24 months, you never had the forethought or took the time to see the shy, sentimental stranger who interrupted your night walks or considered him a danger while he peeked into your being.
Oh.
Heaving sighs of relief, you ignored his silent pleading just one last time. For 24 years, you never thought you would need to lock your door before you had your nightly tea. Click, click. You never thought that you would need to rely on the force that was stronger than thee. Bang, bang. You always thought that your prayers to put you to sleep will be the last thing that you needed. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, hallowed be thy name, be hallowed. And for 24 minutes, silent simpleton robbed you of your life. He came through your unlocked door to hit you with your big stick so you would quickly fall lifeless to the floor, smash thunk for 24 minutes. He told you he loved your hate and made you hate everything in heaven because if there was a God, he would save these 24 minutes in wrath, these 2.4 minutes in pure hell, and show you the path to salvation and possibly strike silent simpleton dead. Crash, bang. For 24 seconds, you cried a cry so shrill to anything with life as you see the life that you had 24 years before the last minute slowly disappear. 24 seconds disappear, just like the sentimental stranger who left you next to your boots on the ground, left for
Mm.
dead but not dead, just dead for a G.I. Jane that shot her last round.
Mm.
For the next 24 years, you wonder how you ever lived as if no one could have ever. Because even though Silent Simpleton's sentence was life, your life will never be the same. And for more than those next 24 years, you have never and will never forget to lock your door. Shh. Click,
Ooh.
click.
Dang.
Wow.
Thanks, guys, for letting me share that.
Just let that breathe. I'm just. Mm.
I have no I can't even wow.
And your life is never the same.
Never.
That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah,
allowing
that's
me to. Thanks, love.
man. I was expecting something funny. You over here knocking people out. You
Yeah,
knocking the
she
breath out of the pants.
impacted. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
I
hit
was.
me
Yes,
right in the. She hit me on the inside. I would say that.
yes. Oh my God. We have to talk backstage. I got questions.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I want to touch you right now.
yeah.
Touch me, girl. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It just popped out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Y'all know my hamsters be tripping.
Right, that's okay. That's all right. I just
Mm.
want
Ah,
put put healing hands on you, touch it, girl, and make
yeah.
it make it better.
Ah.
I oh my God. That was Ivy Tanner. I got it right. That was
She got it.
Ivy Tanner. That was her first piece. What was the name of that?
Untitled. Doesn't have a name.
Yeah, it
Never
does.
get. I can't give it
Yes,
a
it
name.
does. 24 minutes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah,
I can see that one. Yeah.
yeah.
I guess it's got a name now.
It
Yeah.
has a
24.
name.
Wow.
Yeah,
That works. Yeah, very
that,
well.
yeah.
It does.
Yes, it does. So thank you for
Oh,
sharing that piece with us. 24 minutes. Yeah.
Thanks for letting me share it. Hey.
Man, I don't even know how to end this because that was just I I I just
Unexpected and definitely
yes,
powerful.
yeah,
Thanks,
very.
girl.
we can just thank our viewership for watching. Tell them
Oh,
to
yeah,
tune
because
in next
I'm
week.
thank you. I want to thank everyone for jumping in on tonight's live. Tonight we spoke on human trafficking part two. We talked about a high profile case, Peter Nygaard, and also solutions, resources on how we can keep our children at home safe. It is okay to have those it's going to those conversations. They're going to be uncomfortable in the beginning because it is new, but once you start to have more and more of those uncomfortable conversations, it will get easier. You want to bring your children close to you. You want to know your children and what they're doing and who they're with, and like Aaron say, be all up in their business,
All up in it.
because the numbers for the Black girls in our community is staggering. What, 42 or 40%? That's
40% the survivors are black women, and black youth comprise
51.
51%
that
of the
that's a lot.
prostitution
Yeah,
arrested under the age of 18.
that's half of our.
That's
That's half.
crazy. It's crazy.
We need to pay more attention to our children.
Yeah. Even with
Yeah,
the
we
And
do.
hustle and bustle of life, you need to take
yeah,
that time.
yeah, because they're coming up behind us. They're the ones that's going to be taking care of us.
Mm-hmm. And
Facts.
this problem.
And this
Yeah.
Facts.
We don't
and
want to
this
raise that get
problem.
out of my face generation.
Yeah,
Come on
Go sit
now.
down somewhere generation.
Come on
yeah.
now.
You know,
There it is. There it is. So please
That's facts.
like, subscribe, and share. Share this podcast on your page. Send it to your friends. We are bringing awareness to a problem in the community that is not getting it's not getting talked about.
getting enough attention. It's
Enough.
not getting enough
Yeah.
attention. Yeah,
But over here on
it's
things that
definitely not.
people don't want to talk about, it's gonna get
We
some
talk about it.
baby. We're gonna talk about it.
That's right.
There it is. So thank you. We will see you all back here next week. Stay tuned for our next show. I don't know what it's gonna be. John, you
We'll
got
figure
me.
it out.
Yes, yes. Salute, y'all.